My name is Majeska Erina Anak Performance 1, Semester 5, Diploma in Shipping Management. Today, I will be presenting my individual assignment for MRI 2533 Love of Carriage of the by Sea. My topic focus on the International Convention on Liability and Compensation for Damage in connection with the carriage of hazardous and noxious substance by sea, also known as a HNSS Convention. The HNS Convention was adopted in May 1996 under the International Maritime Organization or IMO. It was later updated by the 2010 protocol. The main objective of this convention is to ensure that victims of damage caused by hazardous and noxious substance transport by sea receive adequate, prompt, and effective compensation, unlike early conventions that only focus on oil pollution, such as the Civil Liability Convention. The HNS Convention covers a much wider range of substances. These include chemicals, liquid gas, toxic materials, and other dangerous cargoes. The convention does not only cover environmental pollution, it also includes loss of life, personal injury, property damage, economic loss, cost, and preventive measures. This is very important because in modern maritime trade, the volume of hazardous chemical cargo has significantly increased. With global trade expanding, the risks are also high. Therefore, a comprehensive legal framework is necessary to manage this risk effectively. Next, identify the responsible party. Under the HNS Convention, the ship owner is identified as the responsible party. The convention applies the principle of the strict liability. This means the ship owner is liable for damage caused by hazardous and noxious substance carrier on board the vessel, even if there is no fault or negligence proven. In simple terms, victims do not need to prove that the ship owner did something wrong. If damage is caused by H&S during carriage by sea, the ship owner is automatically responsible. Additionally, the ship owner must maintain compulsory insurance or financial security. This ensures that compensation can actually be paid. This system reflects the modern legal standard known as the polluter pays principle. The party involved in the transporting hazardous cargo must bear responsibility if damage occurs. So, we move to specific obligation under the convention. There are three key obligations that I will focus on. Article 7, strict liability, Article 12, compulsory insurance, and Article 6, constitution of the liability fund. Article 7, strict liability. Under Article 7, the ship owner is strictly liable for any damage caused by hazardous and noxious substance. This simplifies the claims process because claimants do not need to prove negligence, which can be very difficult in complex maritime cases involve technical evidence. However, there are limited defense available to the ship owner. These include damage caused by an act of war, a grave natural disaster of a exceptional and unavoidable character, intentional act of the third party, contributory negligence by the claimant. These defenses are narrow and limited. Overall, Article 7 ensures that victims are protected and compensation is easier to obtain. Article 12, compulsory insurance and financial security. Article 12 requires ship owner to maintain compulsory insurance or other financial security to cover their liability. Ship carrying H&S must have a certificate issued by a state party confirming that adequate insurance is in place. One very important feature is these claimants can bring direct action against an insurer. This means victims do not need to depend solely on the ship owner's financial capacity. They can directly claim against the insurance company. This makes the compensation regime practical and enforceable, not just theoretical. Article 9 Constitution of the Liability Fund. Article 9 allows the ship owner to limit liability by establishing a liability fund. The fund can be created by depositing money or provide a bank guarantee. Once the fund is established, all the claim must be directly against that fund. The insurer, fair distribution among claims, avoidance of the multiply lawsuit in different countries, legal certainty and procedural efficiency. Balance the interest of victim and ship owner. Second, two-tier compensation system. The H&S Convention established a two-tier compensation system. First tier, the ship owner is primarily responsible under strict liability and must maintain insurance. Second tier, if damage exceeds the ship owner liability limit, additional compensation is paid by the H&S fund. The H&S fund is financed by contribution from cargo received in the member state. This spread the financial burden between ship owner and cargo interest. It ensures that even in very late disaster, victim can still receive fund compensation. Additionally, real-life incident. Although the H&S Convention has not yet entered into force, real-life incident demonstrate why such as regiam in necessary. Case study 1. The Evoli Sun incident, France 2000. In 2000, the chemical tanker Evoli Sun sank off the coast of the France carrying about 4,000 tons of the string and other hazardous chemical. There were serious environmental concerns due to the potential release of toxic substance. French authorities had to take extensive preventive measures. The main issue was determining who should bear responsibility for environmental damage and economic loss in the absence of the unified international regime. If the H&S Convention has applied, Article 7 will impose strict liability on the ship owner. Article 12 will ensure compulsory insurance coverage, and Article 9 will allow a liability fund the centralized claims. If damage exceeded the ship owner limits, the H&S fund could provide additional compensation. This case clearly shows the importance of having structured international compensation system. Second, case study 2, MCS Flaminia explosion 2012. In 2012, the container vessel MCS Flaminia experienced a catastrophic explosion in the Atlantic Ocean due to hazardous chemical cargo. The explosion causes death of several crew members, serious injuries, extensive damage of the vessel, environmental concerns. The incident involves complex liability issues, including multiple cargo interests, the contractual relationship. Under the H&S Convention, the ship owner will be strictly liable under Article 7. Families of deceased crew and injured parties could claim compensation without proving negligence. Article 12 will ensure insurance coverage. The broad definition of damage will cover personal injury, loss of life, and environmental harm. This incident highlights the need for the comprehensive international regime governing hazardous substance. So, we move to importance of the H&S Convention. The obligation under Article 7, 9, and 12 are extremely important. First, strict liability simplifies the claims process and removes the heavy burden of proving negligence. Second, compulsory insurance ensure that compensation is actually available. Legal rights are meaningless if there are no financial resources to pay victims. Third, the liability fund mechanism promotes fairness and efficiency. It centralizes claims and prevent conflicting court decisions in different jurisdictions. Most importantly, the convention supports sustainability shipping. It encourages higher safety standards, strong risk management. and accountability in transporting hazardous cargo, as a regime victims may face legal uncertainty, delays, consistent compensation outcomes. Therefore, his NS Convention is essential for environmental protection, economic stability, and fairness in international maritime law. In conclusion, the HNS Convention provides a structured and modern legal framework for addressing damage caused by hazardous and noxious substances carried by sea. Article 7 established liability. Article 12 required compulsory insurance. Article 9 allow the constitution of the liability fund. Together, this provision ensures that victims receive prompt and adequate compensation while balancing commercial shipping interests. Although the convention has not yet entered into force, it represents an important step toward strengthening global maritime governance and managing hazardous maritime risk efficiency. Ultimately, the HNS Convention reflects the global commitment to ensuring accountability, environmental protection, and sustainable development in the international shipping. Thank you for your attention.